This video is going to be a look at the Ravens Commanders joint practice today with a specific focus on some of the Ravens offensive concepts, a little bit of observations, things that I think kind of carry over from the first preseason game against the Eagles, two observations about Todd Monken's offense that I guess I could say I didn't realize before. And then finally, something I think the Ravens appear to be working on. I'm going to have diagrams of plays. I'm not going to show film of the plays, just so you know. So up front, this will be kind of podcast style with some graphics that I kind of draw on the plays for you and talk about them. Additionally, I haven't been able to create any Ravens content with film from the Eagles preseason game because I can't access it. The NFL.com website, for me at least, I can access every game on NFL Plus and download plays as I wish, but for whatever reason can't access the Ravens-Eagles one. I got filmed Sunday night and was able to produce a couple videos. David Ojabo, also one about the Ravens offense, the first possession of the third quarter. Hopefully you guys checked it out. If you didn't, I'll link it up in the description. But since that time, I haven't been able to download any video, which is why, I have been a little remiss on Ravens content in the last couple of days because I've been just relying on that video that I downloaded from Sunday. So pretty cool to me, actually, really some serendipity that the Ravens decided to put the joint practice on YouTube so people like myself could watch it. Interesting decision for me, but let me give you some observations before we start. Again, there won't be any film. Some of the things I believe about Todd Monken so far. He's going to attack to the boundary. He's going to make you defend the boundary. Check. That's confirmed today. I thought I saw 4 plays in a row at one point attacking to the boundary, to the short side of the field. And I thought we saw a lot of that Saturday night against the Eagles. Pre-snap motions and shifts. I mean, talk about not revealing your hand to the defense. Clearly, this was a multifaceted offensive install, not just the concepts, the terminology, and all the things, but these guys have apparently been practicing shifts. And I thought the EA he put out like a 5-minute video about the joint practice, and I did watch it a little while ago. I thought he pointed out something interesting that when we would shift, one side would typically condense, become a compressed side, and the other side would expand. So what you're doing is it's not just that you're not revealing your hand to the defense, you're not showing them your formation early, you're also messing with their coverage calls. So there's some like second or third level thinking there that I can't access, to be honest with you, because A, I haven't seen enough of it, and then also B, I'm not sure that I would understand it, but I suspect that there's some things that Todd Monken is trying to do. Hey, let me elicit this coverage out of them with this look, this formation look, and then we'll shift into part B, and that's going to take advantage of the coverage I think they've called. I can't prove that. That's a suspicion that I have. He's going to use multiple personnel groups. Saw more 20 personnel today in the 40-some-odd plays that I watched between 7-on-7 and team. We did run to the one receiver side at least twice that I saw, meaning there's a receiver over there, and we're running some kind of zone concept to that side. He did that a lot with Tampa Bay. He did that a lot with the Browns the ensuing year, and I know people, Freddie Kitchens called the plays. I mean, he was the offense coordinator. He was involved in it. He ran to the one receiver side with no lead blocker, meaning no fullback, no H-back leading over there. Today, I haven't seen us do that twice in the last 3 years, ever. I've talked about it many times, not just run-pass balance, but directional balance. I think that there appears to be a very clear effort by Todd Monken to have directional balance, meaning this formation can threaten you to both sides. You as a defense can't hedge or move over, shift over to one side because that's the attack side, because we don't attack backside. Talked about that a little bit in the reaction video to the Ravens-Eagles game. Hopefully it makes sense. If it doesn't, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'm not an anti-Greg Roman guy at all, but I think I'm seeing just much better, clearer second and third options on pass concepts for Lamar. It seems to me when I draw them up, because I have drawn them up, as you'll see in a moment, that much better options, second and third, for the quarterback as compared to the Greg Roman passing concepts. I'm not into the whole, these guys would all bunch up together. They would all run routes next to each other. Not even going to get into that. Guy, as far as the production in 2019, top 1% in NFL history of offenses. Having said that, much better design. Not going to get into insulting phrases or words, but it's just reality. Much better passing design, especially with the second and third options. Just better design. Finally, I think the Ravens and Todd Monken are working on a weakness of Lamar's game. I do. In a specific place, part of the field. Now I'm gonna focus it in, hyper focus it in, hopefully for you here in a moment, and it may surprise you. All right, so the first play we're going to get to that I'll talk about, and I have the timestamps with them, is the 36-minute mark. And I believe this is complete to Justice Hill on the wheel. This ball may have been on the left hash. I'm not sure how well you guys can see it, but there's the left hash. Most of these formations, the ball is going to be in the middle of the field. I should have probably, shifted them over. The program that I'm using, I can actually do that. But I believe this ball's on the left hash, and you get a wheel to Justice Hill. I think this was Andrews' backside. Maybe it was Kolar 88, 89. Couldn't necessarily tell the difference. But look, isolated Justice Hill on the backside. Lamar looked smooth, under control. I've always felt like he looked like a shortstop. He looks like a guy that could play shortstop in Major League Baseball to me. And there's people that will probably have something to say about, his throwing motion. But this zipped, just like a guy who, to me, fields a ground ball at shortstop, waits for you for a moment as the base runner, as the hitter, running to first, to let you think you're going to get close enough, and then just zips the throw across perfectly to get you out by a step and a half. Hated those kind of shortstops because they were so confident in themselves. That's what he reminded me of on this play. Just smooth, under control, and then zip the ball out there. All right, so also you had wide bunch to the right, and Zay Flowers was in the slot, ran a wheel. This is going to lead into kind of my point that I was talking about, Lamar, them working on a weakness of Lamar. I did a video probably 2 years ago on my previous YouTube channel. It got a ton of views, and it was about Lamar having a weakness that I identified, at least, as throwing deep to his right. And I felt like there was parts of the field where you didn't see inconsistencies, but for me, it was this area here. And that's some of the conversation people have had today. He's not throwing on the right trajectory. He's not dropping the ball in there. And the guys in my Discord is amazing, and how in-depth they want to go with talking about the game. So some of them, and additionally, I have to give a shout-out to Jeremy in my Discord. He's the guy who gave me some of these timestamps that you see here to go look at. So I was able to, kind of know where to look for certain pass plays that people might have something to say about in terms of deep balls. All right, next one. 36-40. Monken loves the bunch. He loves the bunch. And sometimes, two of these guys will shift over to the other side, like I talked about with the shifts. But oftentimes he'll motion the Z across and create a 2x2 formation. But he loves this bunch stuff. You had Zay, Ricard, and Kolar here. One thing to mention, this is incomplete to Flowers. I thought it was a great throw. It looked like Flowers dropped it. But where was Flowers on the last play? He was in the slot. Where is he on this play? This play that I'm talking about. The very next play, by the way. He's the outside receiver. Conceptually, he's running to the same part of the field I talked about. I may be wrong. I saw enough throws to the deep right part of the field, I think 8, maybe 7, that I feel like they were intentionally working on that. I don't want to use the word fixed, but have we improved it enough? Has Lamar improved it enough, I guess I should say, to where the Ravens feel comfortable with it? Are other NFL teams, are they aware of it? Do they think, oh, we can just, play man-to-man over here and kind of leave that to chance? I don't know. I have no idea. I did a video 2 years ago with multiple plays showing where I felt like he was having trouble to that part of the field that he wasn't having trouble with to the middle third and the left third deep. I could be wrong. All right, so this one I thought it was against Forbes. Man, either you kind of believe what I'm talking about, or you have to believe they were attacking Forbes. I mean, we went deep right often, and he was over there. And Flowers beat him in a one-on-one, I thought once or twice. Beat him to the deep right on this one here. I thought it was a perfect throw. Great opportunity. And I think even having Zay Flowers out there, will scare teams and open up other routes. I actually kind of like this one, to be honest with you. I believe this was a China in by Kolar. I could be wrong, but Ricard running out in the flat. You could do a China out if you wanted to, because presumably somebody's going to guard the guy out into the flats. We also, on the previous play that I just talked about, we attacked the backside with the wheel to Justice Hill, and now we're attacking to the front side. We're keeping that directional balance that I'm going to continue to talk about. But in any case, I love the second and third options that are there as compared to some of the stuff we saw in the past. All right. The next play I want to talk about, look at the timestamp. My first timestamp was 36:00. The second one I think was 36:40, the very next play. This one's 37:10, the very next play. Pro Twins A. I haven't seen us do a lot of this in the last 2 or 3 years. We would call it a zig route. Some people will call it a choice route, where the running back can bring it back in here like Gus did, or, back to the outside if he's singled up against a linebacker. But what kind of opens all this up? The really shallow drag by the tight end. Additionally, the corner, Forbes, was isolated because the safety was pulled by Aguilar's route. I believe this is the one that was underthrown, and OBJ tried to catch it, and Forbes didn't, turn for the ball. There's a picture of it, on social media. Looks like a pass interference. I mean, I don't care. For real, I don't care. It's underthrown. OBJ looks good. Man, he looks good. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I think he looks as good, maybe even better, than he looked with the Rams leading up to the Super Bowl and in the Super Bowl. I thought when they came to Baltimore late in the season, that year, they being the Rams, I thought OBJ looked really good in short spaces, and I thought he looked, in the red zone. Remember his fourth down catch kept the game alive, and then I think he had the touchdown catch too, right? To beat us, basically. I didn't remember him doing a lot of damage and looking this dangerous from the -30 to the +30. What I'm saying is, he looks great. Does he look better than he did against the Rams or with the Rams? I kind of think so, but even the fact that it's debatable, you may agree or disagree, no problem, says how damn good he looks. Moving well. He had a step on Forbes. I think somewhere around in this area, he gives a little look to the outside. Forbes kind of looks back. Maybe the ball could be thrown slightly earlier. I like the built-in running back route here. I feel like that's going to be dangerous for our guys, something we can kind of come back to. Think about, a typical alignment versus this formation. You're going to get a nickel. You're going to get a safety to one side. You might get a strong safety to the other. You can't really play with two nickel defenders, right? You're going to have, maybe one or two inside backers. We're going to draw people, and we're going to open up space, I believe, on this concept, late in here for the running back against the linebacker. But in any case, there's my timestamp. Pro Twins A, running back, tight end, same side. You guys know I'm going to always try to give you the names of the formations. All right, 37:50, very next play. This is the one that's incomplete to Andrews versus a linebacker. Where is it? Deep and to the right. I mean, I'm talking about 4 plays in a row. 3 plays in a row, excuse me. The first one was Justice Hill on the wheel to the left. It's a great route concept. I like it. We call it go switch, but, you can call it a wheel if you want to. 15 Aguilar coming across, pulls the safety down here. Safety comes down with Aguilar's route, and Lamar knows he's going to go up top to somebody. I think Duve basically acts as a clear out, and Andrews had the one-on-one against a linebacker. Overthrown. Probably beat by 2 yards, I guess. You guys have probably seen it at this point. Probably beat by 2 yards, and we can focus on the miss if we want to. It's an opportunity that's there, number one. Number two, it's being created by the route design, by the guy who's calling the plays. Like, there's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot to be happy about, even though it's incomplete. A couple of people in the Discord or my Discord are, they're, I guess, worried. Like, oh, we're not hitting these routes. We're hitting some of them, number one. Number two, Lamar also, I feel like I've noticed with certain receivers, he is risk averse. And with other receivers, he kind of trusts them. Think about the guys he underthrew. He underthrew, well, this one's an overthrow to Andrews, so I'm kind of speaking against myself, but he underthrew Andrews and he underthrew OBJ. He trusts those guys. Now, in this case, this doesn't support what I just said because he overthrew it. But I love the route. Andrews matched up on a linebacker. Um, I want things to be tough for Lamar because he's my favorite player. And I'm kind of glad that he's still working through some things. Am I saying that he can't complete those passes? Well, no. I mean, he completed 3 of them today, right? Um, this one to OBJ, underthrown, 51-minute mark. Oh, by the way, after that last incompletion to Andrews, he came back with an absolute strike to Charlie Kolar to the boundary, to the right flat. I did think Kolar looked a little sluggish and labored today, particularly after plays. He seemed to be getting up slow, almost like maybe the heat was bothered or maybe he was just tired or something like that. Not that he didn't have opportunities to make plays, not that he didn't make catches, but to me he looked a little labored or sluggish, and maybe maybe you don't agree. But 51-minute mark, I believe we traded here. And what's interesting about the trade or the shift is that at first Andrews was here. I don't know why I'm having trouble drawing an 8. At first Andrews was here, and I think Kolar was there. And then when they traded, you can see Kolar's now on the line and Andrews is off. So just interesting. I don't know that I've ever seen that before, to be honest with you. Big completion left side to OBJ. For me, on the YouTube, it had to be for you the same. The angle was from like the left side, so it was kind of weird. We were getting like the camera angle I thought was like this. Something like that. So there was a weird angle for me, but then I can't remember who it was. Shared an angle from the end zone back here so we could see here. And I mean, OBJ was open. So clearly the ball is underthrown, but great catch. More up the sideline, probably, is a touchdown. Again, let's celebrate what are the good things. We are attacking those areas. If Lamar doesn't hit them a certain percentage of the time, whatever that percentage is, that will be revealed to everyone in game on national TV. What do you think that will do to Lamar? It'll motivate him. In my opinion, I felt like there was times last year where we could have thrown the ball in these areas, deep right and deep left, and we didn't. I'm remembering a completion to Duve against the Cleveland Browns up the right side. I'm remembering a miss to Demarcus Robinson up here against Jacksonville. Of course, Demarcus Robinson had a touchdown far left side when Huntley was playing quarterback. What's my point? I'm glad they're working on this. And I'm cool with Lamar, my favorite player, missing some of them. No problem. We're Ravens fans, we don't see Jets practice footage. We don't see practice footage for every team, right? So we don't know how those guys are doing. I'm missing here a pin pull toss play to Justice Hill that I've never seen the Ravens run anything like before. And then this really cool play that was shared on Twitter by a guy named Dan Casey. If you don't follow him on Twitter, you should. Football coach, and very knowledgeable, far more knowledgeable than me, and he shares some cool stuff. And I think he's got a great memory. He shared and recognized, I should say, that this tunnel screen to Duve. Duve is the guy here in green, by the way. I tried to separate it but with colors because I knew that the lines were going to look weird. And again, forgive me for not using film, but I'm just not going to do that and risk my channel having some problems. But Duve went in motion from right to left. Now I will say this: this is the third time that I've seen motion, and the motion takes you to the play. What I mean by that is the motion right to left, the play was to the left. Motion left to right, the play was to the right. This is the third time I saw that in this sequence of plays. You can see the timestamp down at the bottom. The thing that Coach Casey was sharing was this guard pulling and the effect that it had on this defensive end and one of the inside linebackers. That guard pulling and the running back cross and face, had this defensive end and this backer hesitating. And when Duve catches it, he's able to bring it back in here, I believe, bring it back in here to the middle. And there wasn't as much pursuit from the inside because those guys had been pulled by the running back and the left guard pulling. So hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. Coach Casey also recognized that this was a play that he had ran at Georgia multiple times. And again, if you don't follow him on Twitter, you should. He can show you some things. He's showing plays that Monken ran at Georgia that he's still currently running with the Ravens. So nice timing on the tunnel screen. Gets Lamar an easy completion. Gets the ball in the hands of an athlete. And what else does it do? Stretches the defense horizontally, which is what we want. We want to widen them up at times. And I believe we have been utilizing the run game less frequently all training camp. I think it's possible that this offense could, at some point, undergo a shift. Now, I don't mean a huge seismic shift, but if we are, let's say, in the beginning of the season, let's say we are 58% run and 42% pass. I'm wondering if our propensity to throw the ball or how effective we're going to be at it, at some point, defenses adjust in alignment, horizontal alignment, and or coverages, and we end up becoming, instead of 58-42, I'm thinking about like the last 6 or 7 games of the season, we end up becoming like 52-48 in terms of 52% pass and 48% run, because teams have adjusted and Todd Monken's offense kind of has those things in his pocket to punish you if you do adjust. One last play that I wanted to talk about was the completion, I believe, to Andrews up the left sideline. Lamar steps up. There was pressure there, by the way, from the left side. Lamar steps up and kind of sidearm flicks it, and it's underthrown to Andrews again. Andrews looked fired up today. He looked really fired up. And that was at the 1 hour and 7 minute mark for me in terms of the practice. Andrews looked like something pissed him off. And then the very next play was the completion to Tylan Wallace on a stop against Forbes, again to the right. And Forbes was being a little extra. Personally, if I was, a coach for the Commanders or his coach, I wouldn't have a problem necessarily with it. And then Wallace threw like a half punch or three-quarter punch, and Forbes tried to throw a real one. And then Duve ends up slamming him coming in from behind, and there's people, saying things about Duve like, hey, man, that's your teammate fighting. I really got nothing bad to say about Duve slamming the guy and then basically holding him down. I thought Lamar looked comfortable, thought he was throwing quick. But, of course, the defense is told not to hit the quarterbacks like that last play I talked about. Well, not the completion to Wallace, the one before that. Complete to Andrews up the left sideline that was underthrown. Absolutely possible that one of the defensive ends or whoever was rushing off the edge could have got to Lamar and really impacted the play. Lamar looked really comfortable. Will he be that comfortable in a real game situation? Well, probably not, because he's got, risk of being hit, number one. Number two, it still looks like to me he's being told, throw the football. Get to your read, second, third, maybe even fourth, throw the football. Throw the football. Throw the football. And at some point, his competitive instincts will take over. He'll take off running. I'm talking about, in the context of a game. But in any case, I thought that it was neat. Had 2 fields going. We didn't see much of the Ravens defense. At least I didn't. And I think I probably watched like 80% of the whole thing, but I couldn't sit there and watch them when they were just talking, so I fast forward. They didn't show much of that field on the left until after the fight. When they came back from commercial, they immediately went to the field on the left. And I don't know if you've ever been in one of these, whether it's a sport or anything else, where there's 50 people on one side and 50 on the other, or 70 and 70. And then there's people that are trying to be peacemakers and break it up. It's chaos. We were involved in a couple as coaches before, and you just want to get your people that you care about, which is all of them. You just want to get them out of there safe and make sure you don't get hit in the back of your head with a helmet too, because when you're a coach, you don't have a helmet on. So I understood why they came back and didn't, show the result of it or replay it, obviously, but show how the teams were being separated. I just thought it was interesting, But in any case, those are some of my thoughts from the day. I really like what I'm seeing from the offense. I feel behind because I haven't been able to get every single offensive play and put it on my database and categorize it, personnel, formation, run, pass, play direction, etc. I haven't been able to do that because I haven't been able to grab the film. Presumably it'll start working at some point for me, and I'll be able to do that. I'm going to check here tonight after the video posts up. But if you enjoy the video, please let me know. You may disagree with me that it appears as if the Ravens are working on something that they may or may not think is a weakness in Lamar's game. In terms of production, it has been inconsistent in his career. Prior to 2022, like I said, I guess it was after the 2021 season, I did a pretty long video about identifying a weakness, throwing deep right. I must have had 30, 35 throws in that video, some of which were very good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, one throw against Buffalo was incomplete to Mark Andrews up the right side from about 40, 45 yards out. And I don't know if you remember that day. It was Buffalo in 2019. I wasn't there, but it was incredibly windy. You could see it watching the game. You could definitely see it in the All-22 view because you could see the flags. And Lamar dealing with that wind, threw an unbelievable ball to Andrews. He threw another one that was amazing in the back right corner to Andrews. Ended up being incomplete. Andrews almost makes a great catch in the back right corner of the end zone. My point is, in 2019, we had examples of Lamar making great throws deep to the right. We did. But we also had a number of examples of us missing them, either underthrown or overthrown. If they were consistently overthrown or consistently underthrown, you may have a different thought about it. In the case of Lamar, there have been times when he's been inconsistent, throwing deep to the right. For me, that would be a relative weakness. If you don't know what relative weakness is, what that means is it's a weakness relative to or compared to the other very obvious strengths that you have. So, you guys let me know what you think of the video, what you think of some of my thoughts that the Ravens might have been not just practicing their offense, not just practicing all the things pre-snap and post-snap that they want to do, but also practicing or giving Lamar opportunities to deliver the football in locations that he's been the most inconsistent for him, if you believe my assertion. So thank you guys for checking out the video. If you listen this long, I really appreciate it. I apologize for not having film associated with it. Hopefully I'll be able to grab some more Ravens film and do some stuff. Particularly, I wanted to do something on Tavius Robinson. And also OBJ. But Zay Flower, excuse me, OBJ. But appreciate you guys' time. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this video, please consider grabbing a link to it, sharing it on social media to help this content get more reach.